Another postseason, another Braves choke job. Let's go.
On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Bronxsexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa! Hell no! Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
I'm not as hyped as I usually am because I have a cold and I have been also put on alert, but we'll get you through this. Good morning. Welcome to the fabulous, fantastic football Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Rob Carlton is here. Seriously, Larry is here. And how about those Philadelphia Phillies? How about them? They beat the Atlanta Braves again, which proves one thing. The Atlanta Braves are nothing but a regular season team until they do what they did in 2021, which was beat the Houston Astros in the World Series, and the Braves will never get back to the World Series ever, ever, ever again. I said it, and I mean every word of that. The Braves will never get back to the World Series again, ever. Nor will the Broncos ever beat the Kansas City Chiefs ever, ever, ever again. Ever. Chiefs 19, Broncos 8. That wasn't even the best game by Kansas City. I'm not even playing the... I may as well. This is going to be an abbreviated edition of the Whip Around. Sweet 16 for the Kansas City Chiefs over the Denver Broncos. 19-8 is the final score. But I want to focus more while I have a few minutes on the Philadelphia Phillies beating the Atlanta Braves again, and Nick Castellanos setting a bit of Major League history. He becomes the first player ever to hit 2 home runs in a playoff game in back-to-back playoff games. First player ever to do that. You heard what I said. First player ever to hit 2 home runs in a playoff game, and he did it in back-to-back games. Atlanta Braves can't claim that, nor can they claim that they're a good playoff team anymore. For if they were a good playoff team, they would have found a way to beat the Philadelphia Phillies in a playoff game. They would have found a way to beat them. But you didn't. Ha ha, nah, 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 nah. That should tell you everything you need to know about the Atlanta Braves. Someone asked me, why won't you pick the Atlanta Braves to beat Philadelphia? Well, the reason it came out in the wash, no damn pitching. The Atlanta Braves in the postseason for the past 2 years had no damn pitching. None. Absolutely none. It cost them last year against Philadelphia, and it cost them this year. Only difference was it was a sweep last year, and it was 4 games this year. Then there's the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. Ugh. You want to talk about an ugly situation? The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Broncos for the 16th consecutive time. 16. You know, I hate saying this aloud about the Denver Broncos, but I think I can go ahead and say it aloud right now. Y'all suck. Russell Wilson or no Russell Wilson. You all absolutely blow chunks. You all absolutely suck. And it ain't going to get any better. Not now. And dare I say, not ever. The Kansas City Chiefs own the Denver Broncos just like the Philadelphia Phillies own the Atlanta Braves. Seriously, Larry just posed a question. Where's Broncos head coach, Hackett or Payton? You really want me to answer that question? All right, I'll answer it honestly. Tie. Because Payton can't seem to figure out an offense, and Nathaniel Hackett couldn't figure out a doggone thing. But in all honesty, Nathaniel Hackett was set up to fail. He lost that locker room the day he signed the contract. I mean that. The day he signed the contract, he lost the locker room. And you can't say and people cannot tell me otherwise. Because if he didn't lose the locker room the day he signed the contract, then you wouldn't be able to explain why the hell Russell Wilson had more power in that locker room last year than Nathaniel Hackett did. And Nathaniel Hackett was the doggone head coach. Larry, I hope that answers your question. But Peyton was supposed to be the savior. Listen, Sean Payton is not Bill Walsh. Sean Payton is not George Seifert. Sean Payton is not Bill Parcells. Dare I say, Sean Payton wanted to coach the Cowboys. But then Gerald put the nix to that. Gerald put the stop on that. Because Sean Payton would have gotten full autonomy on the team. How simple can I make this? Sean Payton wanted to coach the Cowboys, but Gerald would not give him complete autonomy of the team, period. So Sean took the booby prize in the Denver Broncos. And it's indeed a booby prize. I mean, have you seen the team? Have you seen how they have performed? Have you seen how they tried to perform? My gosh. Look at them. It's as simple as that. Look at them. I said this to my cousin after the 49ers beat the brakes off of the Broncos in Super Bowl 24. Did you look at them? Look at this team. What the hell do they have? They were lucky enough to beat the Bears, and the Bears choked that game away. The Bears handed the game to the Denver Broncos, period. It was one of those kind of games where we could have given both teams a loss, the Broncos and the Bears, and been done with it. There's just no way. You can't tell me that this Denver Broncos team is going to be competitive with Sean Payton as the head coach anytime soon. You can't possibly think that. The game last night, even though it was closer than it looked, 19-8 was the final score, is a game of the haves and the have-nots. The Chiefs are the haves, and the Broncos are the have-nots. Simple as it gets. How the hell are you going to tell me that they actually are worth something? Huh? You can't say that aloud. There's no way you can say that aloud and expect someone to believe you. The Denver Broncos with Sean Payton as the head coach are a bunch of has-beens. Period. Russell Wilson is a has-been and a wannabe at the same time. He got that major contract and it went right to his head. He thinks he can lead the Denver Broncos to the promised land. Well, Russell, I got two questions for you. Number one, who's your running back? And number two, who's going to catch the ball when you throw it? Huh? You ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about that? No? Good answer. I'm done. Now with that out of the way, coming up next is Sam Shady, then Ben Sutter, and then my power rankings after that. And yes, we have the picks as well. We're just getting started on this edition of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Back in a flash.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pistol 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby!
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying. But this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe, Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Working on all of our social media being identified by Snowman Multimedia. Hope to have those changes in place beginning Monday. I know I am minus part of my voice, but this tonight I will have Stanford and Colorado, a little alternative play-by-play for you, Pac-12 style, beginning at 9:30 Eastern time. All right, let's keep this Football Friday session going with this man. Sam Shady is now with us on the Invader Coffee guest line. Good morning, Sam. Good to talk to you.
Good morning, Brian. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Let's start with Thursday night football. The Chiefs continue to win in all kinds of crazy ways. They beat the Denver Broncos 19-8. Another win for the Chiefs against the Broncos. And this series hasn't been competitive since John Elway retired. I'll give you that much.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, it's been, at this point, 8 years and I think about 25 days, or 20 days, sorry, 21 days. So since we beat the Chiefs way back when they had Alex Smith, we had Peyton Manning, and yeah, it's been just an unbelievable domination by the Chiefs for the Broncos for years now.
What is it about the Kansas City Chiefs that seems to bring out the worst in the Denver Broncos, whether it be at Mile High Stadium? I can't say in Power Field at Mile High. I'm too old school. Whether it be at Mile High Stadium or at Arrowhead Stadium.
You know, I think it's just that division rivalry. I mean, ultimately, these teams are built more or less to beat each other. I mean, at the end of the day, when you know you're going to face an opponent 2 times a year at a minimum every year, you're keeping them in mind when you build a roster. So a lot of what they have on their team is specifically designed to defeat teams like the Broncos. Now, the Broncos aren't doing themselves any favors when Russell Wilson has one of the worst performances of the season so far.
Why has Russell Wilson not worked out in Denver? I know you've wanted to talk about this. I'll throw the question out. I'll throw the question out there. I've wanted to do it for 2 years now. Why hasn't Russell Wilson worked out in Denver?
You know, at the end of the day, I think Russell Wilson's kind of given us all the answer to a question that a lot of us asked when he was in Seattle. Is he a system quarterback? And I think at this point, the answer is resoundingly a yes. Yes, he was in the proper system to accentuate his talents in Seattle. You had a lot of playmakers around him throughout his entire time there. The defense and the run game were unbelievable, so they kept him in a lot of games. He wasn't really an elite quarterback all the time. He didn't need to be. He was a game manager sometimes, and sometimes that's all they needed to win games. And ultimately, we see him in Denver where there, quite honestly, is not a lot of talent around him. He's got that monster contract, and we had, wide receivers we thought would be good enough, but ultimately they just haven't played well with Wilson there as the quarterback.
So what will it take for the Broncos to be competitive again? Is it going to take Russell Wilson getting out of there and them drafting a quarterback and developing him from the beginning?
I think that's kind of the point that we're at. At this point, if it's me, I know you can't go getting rid of Russell Wilson right now. You're basically tied to him until 2025 or after the 2025 season. So it's one of those things where you got to ultimately ride with him for at least the 2024 season. And if that's the case, and you bottom out this year and you have the top draft pick or near it, why not select a quarterback and let him sit for a season? And then when you can get rid of Wilson, move on and move toward your future. I mean, in the meantime, you can dismantle this roster and rebuild it with players that want to be here. And a lot of that is is the reason the Broncos continue to lose. Is a lot of these guys are so fed up and so over the losing that they've experienced their entire careers in Denver,
Right.
that they don't want to be here anymore, and I can't really blame them. So if that's the case, you go get a whole new crop of players, a bunch of young, hungry guys, and move on from the guys who are here that don't want to be here. Your Jerry Jeudy's, your Cortland Suttons, the guys that should be performing that aren't really performing, and it has a lot to do with their mentality off the field.
Let me pose a question. I know that has been posed to me since last year, and I have posed it to you many times. And not many other people want to ask this question, not even the big pundits. A, it's a two-part question. A, why isn't Brock Purdy getting the recognition he deserves? And B, why isn't he full on in the MVP conversation?
Well, I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that he's got so much talent around him, but that's not something that you can hold against him. In my personal opinion, what Brock Purdy has done has been unbelievable, especially considering the fact that at this point he has still not started a full season's worth of games.
Exactly.
So, he's still only going to continue to get better, which we spoke about just the other day. To see him develop in such a quick manner and not just play good or great, but elite, has been inspiring, to say the least. I mean, sometimes there's a such thing as system quarterbacks. Sometimes there's quarterbacks that end up in the right system. They're two very different things. This is a situation where a quarterback ended up in the right system with the right playmakers around him for him to find the ultimate success, which is what we've seen with Purdy. Now, again, I don't think you can hold against him that he has Kyle Shanahan as a play caller, or that he has all these talented weapons around him. I mean, at the end of the day, he could trot out there and throw for 250 yards a game and one touchdown, and we could still be talking about him as game manager. So let's look at what he's doing. Let's consider what's actually happening and how he's doing so well, and realize that it's not all the playmakers. It's not all Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy is a big part of the success in San Francisco.
And the other part of the success in San Francisco, aside of Brock Purdy and all the playmakers around him, is the fact that Kyle Shanahan recognizes he has a playmaker at the quarterback position. And there is an article that I talked about on Wednesday on that 49ers show where Stephen Ruiz has Brock Purdy ranked as low as 22nd in his quarterback rankings. He has an injured Kyler Murray ahead of him.
That's just asinine. I mean, that's just literally people trying to spin a narrative, because, I mean, at this point, I would understand if we were talking about just the tail end of last season. But Purdy's come out firing better than he played last year, coming off surgery. We all know that he basically didn't have an off season to practice on, working on timing and stuff like that with his receivers. So if that's the case, then how can you possibly look at his performance in that manner without thinking he's taking that next step as a quarterback? I mean, to me, that's somebody who's got a bias and they're sticking by it.
Yeah, they're sticking by it, all right. And what makes it so sad is that, for me, Brock Purdy keeps going out and proving people wrong. He has yet to throw an interception this year. He's thrown 9 touchdowns, 4 of them in the last game. That's his second 4-touchdown game. The other, of course, coming to the playoffs against Seattle. It leads to the question, what more does Brock Purdy have to do to prove his point?
I honestly don't know. I mean, if you look at the numbers, and I'm an Eagles fan. Anybody who knows me, diehard Eagles fan, huge Jalen Hurts fan specifically. So it pains me a little bit to say this, but Brock Purdy's outperforming Jalen Hurts, and you can't make the argument that the Eagles don't have similar talent on offense. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, I'm blanking his name at the moment. Our tight end, Goddard, DeAndre Swift. all these talented players around him, and you look at the stats, and Brock Purdy, line by line, has 100% outperformed Jalen Hurts. The only reason that Jalen Hurts has kind of equalized their two performances is his ability in the rushing game. You can't hold that against Purdy. Purdy's been a pocket passer since he came in the league. That's the reason why he's slipped as far as he has. Mobility is a huge thing in the NFL now, but again, he's a guy who has outperformed his draft stock more than we've seen in a long time. And I hate to say it for anybody who doubts him, but we might be looking at the next dynasty, quite honestly. I mean, it just depends on how his next contract negotiation goes. But if San Francisco can negotiate a team-friendly deal, we might be looking at, dare I say, the next Tom Brady situation.
You know, what makes it so much fun is the fact that Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy, you know, we said this since the offseason, even though the Niners lost to Philadelphia in the NFC Championship, goes back to us thinking, you know, Brock Purdy had no business being in the NFC Championship. You know, you and I called that, you know, way before the season ended last year, and we called it before this year. It's San Francisco and Philadelphia and nobody else in the NFC, period.
It certainly seems that way. And, you know, like we just spoke about, if that's the case, and these are the two best teams in the NFC, and Brock Purdy is theoretically outperforming Jalen Hurts, why isn't he in the MVP conversation like you mentioned? I mean, quite honestly, there's no reason why he shouldn't be. Look back at how this offense performed with Trey Lance at the helm last season. Trey Lance had more time in this offense than Brock Purdy did when Brock Purdy entered the game late in the season and balled out like he did. So if that's the case, it doesn't make a lot of sense why he's not being considered in a higher manner.
It really doesn't make a lot of sense. Speaking of your Eagles, they have the New York Jets on Sunday. They're coming off of a win against the Los Angeles Rams at final 23-14. Ball control offense again with Philadelphia, and now you face the New York Jets in the Meadowlands. You don't want to think this is too much of a cakewalk, but we are talking about the New York Jets.
Hey, to be fair, I mean, the Jets have a lot of talent on that offense. Zach Wilson's playing pretty well right now. So definitely don't want to count out the Jets at any point this season. I think they're going to be a tough out every week, regardless of Zach Wilson starting. With that in mind, I personally think this is a game where we could see combined something like 400 to 500 yards rushing between the two teams, because the Jets are going to lean heavily on Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, Michael Carter. The Eagles are going to do the same thing with DeAndre Swift, Jalen Hurts, and, as well as Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, Rashad Penny. So, again, I expect a lot of running in this game, which is perfectly okay with me. That's the offense that suits the Eagles. So, keep the ball out of the opposing team's hands. Hopefully we score more than them, which I don't think should be an issue in this game. But ultimately it's going to be an interesting game to watch for sure.
Sam Shady joining us as he does every single Friday to talk all things football, and the Eagles face the Jets on Sunday afternoon. Thanks a lot, Sam. Appreciate the time. Appreciate you. Let's keep doing this every Friday, man.
I'm looking forward to it next week, and hopefully we got some more AFL and XFL, USFL news to talk about here soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Up next are my power rankings, and you all know who stands where. And then Ben Sutterth III will join me here on the program. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, back in a flash.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze claw.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crown they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can be the black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the 4 Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
And oh man, I'm working with this cold, y'all. I promise I'm working with this cold. And it gives me great pleasure. It gives me great pleasure to not only have Sam on this morning, but to have this man as well. The owner, the manipulator, and the operator of the BS3 television network, which houses this humble show, Ben Sudderth III, now joins us. Good morning, Ben. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
What happened last Sunday night? I'm just gonna.
You had to start with that, huh?
Look, look. We require a weekly review of the Cowboys, since you're a Cowboy fan and our Cowboy insider. And I'll put it in a more blunt question that my wife asked me when she peeked over my shoulder while I was streaming the game. What the hell happened?
Yeah, they got demoralized. They got demolished. They got torched. Whatever word you can use is what happened to them. The Cowboys just are forever owned by the 49ers. And it's just simple and point blank. We got picked up. We got picked apart on defense. Offense couldn't do anything. Dak just seemed out of sorts, not being able to complete the wide open passes, throwing interceptions. I mean, it was a horrible game from beginning to end. And I don't know how you bounce back from that, because being the physical team that the 49ers are, the injury report, they were saying it was 17 players on the injury list. 49ers are a very physical team. And if any Cowboys fan thought we were close to the 49ers, we're not. We actually got further away from even being close to beating them.
Why does the moronic Republic of Cowboy Nation continue to believe that they're close to the 49ers, and Sunday showed us a major difference between the two teams?
Yeah, I don't get that at all. And I don't get any Dak defenders. You can go Monday and say Dak still can take us to the Super Bowl. It's a negative. It is a absolute negative. He is a good quarterback, specifically in the regular season. Playoffs are a completely different story, and whenever he plays the 49ers, it's a completely different story. If you want to go play calling, I don't care what excuse you want to use. That team and that quarterback was not prepared to win that game. And if they were, we're in horrible trouble if that's what you call prepared.
That wasn't being prepared at all, because we talked about it last week that the Cowboys had to come out fast, and you couldn't allow the 49ers to take that first drive and stick it down your throat. Well, guess what happened? They took that first drive and stuck it down their throat, and they made it look easy.
Yeah. McCaffrey was able to run freely. Not Elijah Mitchell, the rookie, that running back that they had, I forgot his name.
Jordan Mason.
Right. He was able to run freely. I mean, at what point do you have the ability to stop the run? You added Mozzie Smith. You drafted him. There's reports saying that he's not ready. He's slow reacting. So you have, players that should be able to stop the run. And they just, that is their biggest weakness. And that's what every team is going to do. They're going to run on you because they know you can't stop it.
Right. And they ran the ball very effectively for 170 yards on Sunday night. Matter of fact, Jordan Mason, who didn't even start the game, rushed for 69 yards. The Cowboys as a team rushed for 57. Glaring hole right there for the Cowboys.
Yeah. And stopping the run and running the ball. I mean, I think we know what Tony Pollard is capable of doing, and they pretty much shut that down. I know they had Rico Dow in a couple of plays. I doubt that he got probably over 30 yards rushing. So, there's a lot of question marks that came out of this game, and not a lot of where there came out of this game.
What do you think the biggest question mark is right now for the Dallas Cowboys going forward?
I think the defense. Honestly, I think we touted this defense, saying that they're one of the best defensive in the league. Well, guess what? That was against two horrible teams. Yes, you're supposed to be the best defense against the Giants and against the Jets. That's the way it should be. You play the Cardinals and you get torched, which that shouldn't have happened. And then you play the 49ers and you just get absolutely picked apart. So I think the defense is the biggest question mark, because that's how you've been dominant really so far. So if the defense is not on and Dak is average, then this is going to be a losing season.
And the scary part about it is the Cowboys came in with so much hype. We talked about it all summer long, Ben.
Yep.
The Cowboys came in with so much hype. And now to sit at 3-2 with a threat of not even making the playoffs. And yes, I'm saying that aloud right now. Yes, we're in week 6. Yes, it's a 17-game season. But you allow the Arizona Cardinals to punch you in the mouth, and you allow the San Francisco 49ers basically to take your soul from you. The Cowboys are on the verge of not making the playoffs right now unless they rally defensively, because you just have to get the feeling you're going to see a team like San Francisco again. And you have to see Philadelphia twice, and you got to see the Washington Redskins twice.
Yeah. Anytime it's a division game, when you got to play the Eagles twice, which they're a step up above us. I don't care what anybody says. We're not better than the Eagles. Washington, I would say we're better than Washington, but it's a division game. Anything can happen when it comes to division games. And, not to forget, you got to play Buffalo. You got to play the Dolphins. So this schedule is not friendly, if you will, because there's games where we're going to have to win in tough situations. And I think this all the hype, like I'm so sick and tired of the hype. Just go out and win the game. When you go to a conference championship game, then you can talk about hype. Then you can talk. When you beat the 49ers, then you can finally talk, which you have not done. So I'm done with all the talking. And yeah, you're right. It's on week 6, but yeah, they're on the verge of not making the playoffs based on where they are so far. and based on where this division is going, and they're on the radio, they're already talking about, well, we need this to happen and this to happen. Like, if you got to bargain your way into the playoffs, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
And you know what's scary? They've been doing a lot of bargaining since the Arizona game. Even though they demolished the Patriots, the Patriots are an inferior team right now. And then they had all this hype. We talked about it all week, all this hype going into the San Francisco game, and they laid a big fat egg in Santa Clara.
Yeah. I mean, the hype train was moving. Most people were excited. Some people were reasonable, just saying this is a team we have not beat. They have not changed very much on their roster, and we haven't proven that we can stop them. And we got punched in the mouth from beginning to end. This team practicing this week. I don't know how you get that out of your head, because they said they had it marked on the calendar, which they did, but that didn't mean anything. And you got injuries. You got Van Der Esch, who's going to be out. I don't know for how long, but they just signed the linebacker. So now it's you got to kind of take your wounds up, and you got to play your former OC, because Kellen Moore is not going to take it easy. He's going to try to run a score.
And they've got the Chargers this week. We'll get to that pick in just a moment. But I want to talk about what Micah Parsons says, that laugh now, cry later. He wants to say that now after his and the rest of their defense got socked in the mouth on national television, mind you, because this was Sunday Night Football. They got socked in the mouth on national television, and Micah Parsons says that.
Yeah. No, that's a massive reach. You have not beat them. There is no laugh now, cry later. That doesn't exist. Just shut up, go home, figure out a way how you can finally beat this team. The talk is cheap with this whole team, this whole organization. Jerry comes out and says, "Yeah, we still believe in Dak." I don't know how. I don't know how a logical businessman that's a football GM, owner, whatever, I don't know how you can say you have full confidence in this team or in this quarterback. And that's just a fair statement. If you look at how they played, if you look at how it was plenty of throws, wide open receivers, wide open tight ends, just could not make the throw. And we're in year 7 and we're talking about you cannot make the throw. You're not throwing a wide receiver open. This is stuff that we should not be talking about. I don't care who you are.
No.
And the Dak faithful, whatever, however you feel, it's just the truth. If you watch every single game, you see that there's just key moments in games where he's not able to capitalize on what the defense is giving him. And the hype is over with, and there's no reasoning why you should feel like you can beat this team anytime in the future, unless Purdy's out, unless Bosa's out, unless there's injuries going on. There's nothing on paper or in your own eyes of the Cowboys beating the 49ers anytime soon.
And it doesn't get any easier because the Cowboys have to go back to California on Monday Night Football, and they have to play the Los Angeles Chargers and former OC Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore wants nothing more than to ring up the score against the Cowboys, the team that released him.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, what better way to prove that you shouldn't have been let go and that you're not the problem, than to dial up an offense that basically destroys your former team. And I just, this defense, to me, it would be hard to come back after you just got beat down literally and figuratively by the 49ers, and how you can reasonably win this game. And Justin Herbert's not a pushover either. I know Staley can make some bad decisions sometimes when it comes to key moments of the game, similar to McCarthy. But this is really a toss-up. I don't care what the numbers say. This is pretty much a toss-up because the Cowboys, and they've had a weird stat. Teams that play the 49ers the week after, they've lost every game but one because of how bruising the 49ers are.
Yeah. And that's the thing. The 49ers want to beat you up. They want to demoralize you. They want to punish you. We talked about it before both playoff games with the Cowboys and the 49ers. We talked about it before Sunday Night Football, and we're doing it again. They not only want to demoralize you, they want to beat you up.
Yeah. And Fred Warner, man, one of the best linebackers in the league. I wish he was on the Cowboys. But man, what an amazing player he is. That secondary. Obviously Bosa, you can't say any more about him. We already know him, but yeah, this team is just head and shoulders above the Cowboys right now. It's not even close. It's not even a margin of them being able to beat them anytime soon.
Monday Night Football features the Los Angeles Chargers against the Dallas Cowboys. And that's Ben Sutter III joining us as he does every single Friday morning to talk all things Cowboys and all things Metroplex sports. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate the time. We love you. Thanks for coming on.
Yep, definitely appreciate you as always. And we got Cold Sports coming up at 2 p.m. Central. And we should have a new episode, Poppy J and Wise. They're on season 3. And they're coming up at 8 p.m. Central, BS3 TV on Roku.
Looking forward to all of it. Thank you, Ben.
All right. Take care.
So I had to call an audible with this and go right into the interview with Ben. But I promise y'all, when y'all get back, we'll have the rankings. And then we'll have the picks, and then Chris Bass will close it out next.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again. Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying. But this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
All right. I made a promise that I would have my power rankings. I was supposed to have it in between interviews. Unfortunately, that didn't work out because Ben was waiting to come on, chomping at the bit to talk all things Cowboys and 49ers. Thank you, Ben, so very much for coming on. But I do have my power rankings ready, and we're going to get to it right now. These are Week 6 power rankings presented by BetUS.com. Starting at number 10, we have the Indianapolis Colts. I have the feeling that they've gotten their act together. They're going to be minus Anthony Richardson for a month, but you've got a proven leader in Gardner Minshew. Minshew Mania takes over the capital city. I have the Colts at number 10. number 9, you have the Jacksonville. At number 9, you have the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens took a punch in the mouth when they faced the Pittsburgh Steelers in the game that they should have won. I'm sorry, I got the graphic wrong. But for some reason, I just have this feeling that they've gotten their act together, that they are getting their act together, and they're going to bounce back from their loss at Pittsburgh. Number 8, you have the Buffalo Bills. And you know what? I don't know. I'll leave them there for now. I have nothing more to say about them after the egg they laid in London. At number 7, you have the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals, they have a losing record, but they seem to be out of their doldrums, and they seem to be themselves. They seem to be themselves. That's all I'll say. At number 6, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who punched Buffalo in the mouth and seem to be ready to take over the AFC South Division, although they run into Indianapolis this weekend. Jaguars at number 6. At number 5, you have the Detroit Lions. They're holding steady at number 5, and they'll stay there for now until they make a significant move within the division. I still have them winning the NFC North. Number 4, you have the Miami Dolphins. Love the offense, but the defense is very, very suspect right now. And when I say they're very suspect, I mean just that. Dolphins at number 4. At number 3, you have the Kansas City Chiefs coming off of a win last night against the Denver Broncos. Of course, they're supposed to beat Denver by more than 11 points, but they did win. But there's something off about the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know if they've gotten their act together yet. They're in the process of doing it. Chiefs at number 3. At number 2, you have the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles seem ready to take charge of the NFC East division now, with the Cowboys suffering and the Giants suffering, the Redskins being their only competition. Eagles at number 2. And, of course, at number 1, you have my beloved San Francisco 49ers. They drilled the Cowboys last weekend in Santa Clara. They have a trap game coming up against the Cleveland Browns. And, yes, I'm calling it a trap game because after an emotional win like that, a team always seems to let down against weaker competition, and the Browns are very weak competition right now. I have the Niners at number 1. So that's our top 10. Indy at 10, 9 is Baltimore, 8 is Buffalo, 7 is Cincinnati, 6 is Jacksonville, Detroit at 5, Miami at 4, Kansas City at 3, Philadelphia at 2, and the 49ers at number 1. Who are your top 10 teams? We'll do our picks next.
everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option.
Time to make our picks,
You got the
and
option
Cole.
to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Bobby J and Wise El Jefe, Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Have to use it. Time to make our picks, and Cole is here, and so is Mike Debate, our Patriots and our senior NFL insider for Snowman Multimedia. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing well, Brian. Thanks so much for having me. Cole, props on the alliteration on that. Brian and Mike's mutual friend Claire Cooper calls me the Admiral of alliteration. I think we might have to change that moniker.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And I'm going to install something beginning this week. We have a guest picker, and he joins us from our Chicago headquarters. Say hello to Victor Locke.
I've said it before, and I'll say it before, and I'll say it again. You honor me with that, Mr. Cole Johnson. Thank you very much. How are you guys doing this morning?
Doing good. Doing good. So how's the epic man of the Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
How many times has Victor stepped in for us, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lord. All right. Let's get to it. Let's get to our picks. Let's do what the others won't do and have fun doing it. Here we go. Let's start at the top with our 1:00 games, and we start in Atlanta. The Washington Commanders, aka the Washington Redskins, taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are favored by 2.5 in this game. The over/under is 42.5. I'll begin this one. I don't know what to make of either of these teams. Sam Howell and Desmond Ridder are like both in the middle when it comes to when it comes to quarterbacks. I don't know why that is, but it is. But I can't trust either of them. I can't trust Desmond Ridder, and I sure as hell can't trust Sam Howell, because Sam Howell has been not ineffective but inconsistent at best. But saying all of that, I got to go with the home team. I got to go with the Falcons, and I will take those 2.5 points because I have the feeling when these two get together, it's going to be something crazy. Mike, it's to you.
Yeah, I'm going with the Falcons as well. I'm going to pick them to cover the spread on this. I share your curiosity with both of these quarterbacks, Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell. These types of teams, you can never really figure out from one week to the next who's going to show up, how are they going to be. right now I'm looking at the Washington Commanders defense, and it just has not been good. I think Atlanta finds a way to get the edge in this one, and I think they take this. Not by a long margin, but I think they take it by enough.
To Cole Johnson.
Well, you're right to have both of you are right to have the reticence of the quarterbacks in different meanings, in different ways. Both are inconsistent, but they're differently inconsistent. Ritter, for some reason, he just seems to like to have that confidence, no matter if he's playing at home or on the road. With Sam Hall, the confidence basically is the men in front of him, because at times they have resembled the lines that are comprise of the Panthers and the Bears, as our guest picker has said. Sometimes the Commanders' front five resemble 300-pound turnstiles who basically are mannequins. So if I were a quarterback behind that line, I would have some inconsistencies as well and some trust issues. That's going to continue because the Falcons' defense is not that bad, and because they're playing at home, the Falcons win this one.
All right, to our guest picker, Victor Locke. Victor?
Yeah, the only apprehension I had is the Falcons have a really bad knack of blowing away huge leads, but the defense has gotten better, and as all you guys have said, that offensive line for the Commanders is almost non-existent. I mean, if you can make Justin Field and the Bears look good, your line is trash. Pure Holstein trash. So with that, I actually will take the Falcons as well.
All right.
Trays.
That outlines a whole lot right there. Speaking of trades, let's go to Soldier Field. The Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears in the first Tank Bowl of the week. There are several that we all have looked at, and the Vikings are getting 2.5 on the road. The over-under is 44. Okay. You have a tale of two quarterbacks here as well. You got Kirk Two Chainz Cousins, and you have Justin Fields, and you got mannequin lines in front of both of them. I would say I want anarchy and I want a tie, but given the fact that these are the Chicago Bears we are dealing with, and against my judgment, I'm going to go with the Vikings, and I'm going to take the points in this one because you don't know what you're going to get with either of these teams. Let's go to our guest pick, Victor.
Yeah, I actually earlier in the week asked if we could just put the dish on top of the Soldier Field spaceship and blow it up in the sun. This is a game I absolutely have no interest in, but at the same time, I'm going to go with the Vikings because I'm going to say it right now. I think that the game in Washington was a fluke. I think that game was a fluke. I think that Justin needs to show his consistency, and that offensive line needs to show that they can actually protect him. And against the front four of the Vikings, I don't see that happening. So I'm going to go with the Vikings in this one, as much as I hate Two Chainz.
To Mike Debate, we go for this one at Soldier Field.
Yeah, I agree with both of you gentlemen. I think the Minnesota Vikings take this. Look, the Bears are coming off that victory. They're feeling the high, but I have a tendency to agree with Victor. I think that was more of an anomaly rather than the norm when it comes to what you're going to see from the Bears. The Vikings can actually score, even without Justin Jefferson in the lineup, and that, to me, is going to be the challenge of this game. I think it's going to be a fun one to watch, but again, I think the Vikings take this because I just don't see the Bears having enough on either side of the ball to be able to take them out.
All right, Cole, finish it off.
Memo to the Vikings offensive coordinator. Run the ball!
Please.
Okay. With that PSA out the way, I agree with all three of you. What we saw in Landover last Thursday was an absolute anomaly. I don't think we're going to see a 40-point outburst, nor do I think we're going to actually see similar performances from Justin Fields that he did perform in back-to-back games. Not to say that the Vikings defense is all that great. I just believe that the Bears basically are a dumpster fire. And if the Vikings can show that they can run the ball, and if Kirk if Kirk Cousins doesn't throw for 300 yards in the game, I have the Vikings to win it. And the reason why I say that is the lone game that the Vikings have won, Cousins didn't throw for 150 yards. But every game they've lost, he has thrown for 280 or more yards.
All right, we're all okay. Let's move on. We have the Seattle Seahawks at 3-1, taking on the Cincinnati Bengals at 2-3. Bengals favored by 3 at home. Over under is 45. I trust the Bengals. I trust that they're getting their act together. And you want to talk about an anomaly? His name is Geno Smith. You want to talk about an anomaly? They are the Seattle Seahawks. This happened last year. And then right before the playoffs, they backed in and folded like a tent. They're going to fold like a tent here. I got Cincinnati winning this game, and I am laying the points. I am going to trust Joe Burrow and that fast break offense to get out on Seattle early. Seattle has a good defense. Don't get it twisted. But Cincinnati is starting to get their act together. They're out of the September doldrums, and I really believe they're going to take this one. To Mike debate we go.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bengals on this one as well. Look, the Seahawks coming off a bye, they're going to be well rested. You mentioned Geno Smith, and I think you're going to see some difficulty that he'll have with the Cincinnati defense as well. Seahawks have a good defense as well. You definitely mentioned that, but Joe Burrow is finding his groove. Cincinnati is the sleeping giant now, I believe, that has been awoken in the AFC, and they're going to continue to show why they'll be in the upper echelon of these teams. I think Cincinnati takes this comfortably.
All right, we go to Cole Johnson.
I really want to believe that they are. The CS are going to screw the pooch. I mean, they just can't have this run of good luck because they have actually looked good. I won't say they've looked great, but they've actually looked good since that wonderful second half collapse at home opening Sunday against the Rams. Yeah. I think they're due for a bad game, and I actually do believe that the Bengals are due for a total win. I don't really consider last week a total win. I consider it more of basically a breakout party for Joe Burrow, and that was the most comfortable he's looked all year. Right. I see that to be more of what's to come. So I will definitely pick the home team. The Bengals will win it and give the Seahawks a second loss of the year.
All right, Victor, do you make this a clean sweep?
I'm living on the air in Cincinnati. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we got to go to the Bengals. I don't know if we can use rebuilding mode for the Seattle Seahawks. It's like they are in purgatory at this point, and I don't see Geno Smith being the saving grace for them. So, yeah, I'm definitely going with Cincy on this one.
We're all unanimous and going with the Bengals. Let's go to Cleveland. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff. The San Francisco 49ers at 5-0, taking on the Cleveland Browns at 2-2. Cleveland coming off of a bye. 8.5 is the spread in favor of the 49ers. 37, the over-under in this game, 37. With a team that's averaging 32.5 points per game, that 37 is an insult to the 49ers offense. I'm going with the 49ers, and I'm laying them all. All right, this time we go to Mike.
Yeah, I'm going with the 49ers, and I'm taking them all as well. Look, I know Cleveland's defense is impressive. There's no question about it. It'll be a big test for Brock Purdy and that offense to be able to move the ball, but I think they do it effectively. I do believe that at the end of the day, San Francisco is the more talented team on both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. I don't think Cleveland's going to be able to hang around in this one. I think Niners take this, and I think they take it by more than that spread.
Do they keep the 30-point streak going? I say they do. To Cole Johnson.
We'll see what I think about this. Yeah, I think this. Oh yeah, girl. I got an important game coming up. Yeah, the best team in the NFL is coming to town. Towel, girl, towel. No, I don't want you. No, I don't want you to touch me. I just want you to lodge. Just sit down, relax. Yeah. Not just watch me stroke. Watch me stroke. Oh, yeah, I love love that. I love that skin. It just glows, man. You look like one of those party dresses. You just sparkle like a strobe light. Oh yeah, girl. I can't help my team out again. 49ers.
I see no lies in that assessment. I see no lies. I hear and see no lies in that assessment. Victor, make this unanimous.
This might be just spite, but if the Cowboys are going to get torched by the Niners, then I don't see why the Browns can't get torched either. I'm definitely going with the 49ers on this one. They have become one of the most complete teams in the NFC right now, and I don't see Deshaun Watson. And I don't know why the over-under was so low. Maybe they just really think that the Brown defense is that good. But
yeah, they do.
I'm definitely going with Brock Purdy just hang a 40 spot on the Browns.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's another 40 spot on this game either. To Houston, the New Orleans Saints and the Houston Texans. I'm sorry. Oh, that was for you, buddy.
Thank you.
Can we call this a tank bowl, please? Can we call this one our second tank bowl? Are either of these teams trending upward? I don't think so. But 1.5 is the spread, and it's a -1.5 for New Orleans.
The Saints.
You know what? Cole's going to be so proud of me. I'm going to go against the grain, and I say CJ Stroud hangs 400 on this Saints defense. Give me the Texans and give me the points. Cole?
Actually, I do have to say this. If you were to ask me, Cole, by October 13, 2023, if you were to say the Texans would be 2-3 going into their home game against the Saints, would you take it? I would say yes, 1,000 times out of 1,000 times. Because I did not think I would see this team look this good. And I most certainly didn't think I would see CJ Stroud look this confident and this error-free. The most spectacular thing about, to me, the Texans is that we have stability for the first time in I don't know how long, thanks to DeMeco Ryans, and now actually thanks to CJ Stroud. And that is helping them actually be in games they had no business being in. Last week, for example, is a good place to start. I think that they will take the confidence they built off of the win against the Steelers, and even in the L in Atlanta, because it was done with a last-second kick.
Yeah,
I think they will beat the Saints simply because the Saints have not put together a great total game. Yeah, you can say they did so in Foxborough, but I'm sorry, Mike. It's the Patriots.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Victor.
Yeah, honestly, I never thought I'd say this, but I think the Texans are an up-and-coming team and have really shown that they can hang with some of the big boys. And by the way, the backup quarterback for the Saints is Jameis Crablegs Winston. He's due for
Mr. Eat them W's.
Yeah, and eat them picks too. So
Lord.
I'm definitely going to go with the Texans on this one.
Mike, make it unanimous.
Yeah, I'm making it unanimous. I'm going with the Texans. And look, I saw the Saints up close and personal last week, and believe me, if I have to watch any more of that all 22, I may be dry heaving for the remainder of the evening. There are ways to get to the Saints defense, believe me, and a more competent quarterback, a more competent offensive line will find ways to be able to neutralize what New Orleans does well defensively, and that's rush Cameron Jordan and their pass rush in the face of the quarterback. CJ Stroud has a much better opportunity to evade the defenders, find his targets, and then utilize both the short and the long field, things the New England Patriots could absolutely not do last week.
Right.
That's why I think Houston takes this. They have the confidence and they have the pieces in place to be able to do it.
Speaking of confidence, let's go to Jacksonville.
100%.
Indianapolis Colts taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars favored by 4 in this game. 44.5 is the over-under. Gardner Minshew starting in place of Anthony Richardson, who was on the show for 4 weeks. But Jonathan Taylor is back, and Zach Moss can run the football and soak in the Colts. So my plea to the Colts, coming not just from me, but from my beautiful wife, Jody. She said it to me this morning before she left. Run the football, please. I'm calling for I'm going to go for it and call for the upset. Give me the Colts and give me the points, Mike.
Yeah, I got the Colts pulling the upset as well because, again, exactly like Dr. K said, I think this is going to come down to whether Jacksonville can stop the Colts running game. Jacksonville's got the pieces in place to do it, so if they do it, I'm not going to be shocked, but I'm going to roll the dice, take my chances with the combination of Jonathan Taylor and as well as Zach Moss. I think the Colts pull the upset.
Cole, to you.
Well, I have all the faith in the world in the Jags. I really think that they are putting it together, and they're really enjoying playing where they're playing. I mean, they have done I've gotten a new. Jacksonville is actually back at home. They're not playing in London. Oh, okay. Well, okay, different story. Oh, all right. The question is, which Jags team is going to show up? And with the Colts, there's a dilemma. Do they really want to win, or do they want to actually just show that they have the ability to have Anthony Richardson grow up? And I know, yes, he's going to be out for a month because he landed on his throwing shoulder this past Sunday. But seemingly, this team seems to play better with Gardner Minshew under center, and that has nothing to do with Anthony Richardson. That's not a slight against him.
Not at all.
It's just that the team responds to Minshew better. Even though that is true, with that being said, I think the Jags are going to squeak it out. Of course, obviously, since they're both AFC South rivals, I'm rooting for neither team. But I'll pick the Jags, and it's going to be extremely close.
This is going to be a good game, and gentlemen, do not be surprised if this game later on decides the AFC South division.
I agree.
They already have one game up on the Colts, and that was an opening week, but the Colts have gotten their act together. Victor?
Yeah, I want to go with House Rule 5. The only thing that really worries me is that while yes, the Colts have a really good running game, are they going to have that really good running game against the Jaguars defense? And I'm not so sure about that.
True. Yeah.
So as much as I wanted to, stand behind Dr. K, I think I'm going to go with the Jaguars on this one.
It's going to be a good game.
They
always play a damn good game.
And another reason why I should pick against the Colts is that for some reason Jacksonville is a house of horrors for them. I don't know what it is. They just don't play well in Jacksonville.
They've lost seven in a row in Jacksonville, and I say that streak comes to an end. They've already ended one against the Titans. I think they break this losing streak.
This would be the time to do it. Yeah,
I agree. Against the Jaguars. Mike and I are picking the Colts. Cole and Victor are picking the Jaguars. Our last 1 o'clock game is in Miami, and it's the biggest spread. The Carolina Panthers plus 14 at the Miami Dolphins. The over-under, listen to my sentence carefully, gentlemen, is only 47. Note, I said only 47. They actually expect the Panthers to score more than 10 points. I say not. I'm taking the Dolphins, and I'm laying those points all day long. Michael?
Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins, and I'm laying the points as well. Look, bottom line, this offense is playing at another level. You can make the argument that maybe the key to try to slow down Miami is to, get behind cracks and fissures in their defense, but this is not the team that's just capable of doing that. The Carolina Panthers are still too far away, and the Miami Dolphins are just that much better.
Victor?
Yeah, I'm going to decide with the Dolphins. The Panthers right now are an absolute dumpster fire right now. They're probably tied for one of the worst dumpster fires besides the Seattle Seahawks. They're in complete rebuilding mode. They have no momentum. And right now, they're just trying to get their identity back together. They're now, 2 or 3 years past the Cam Newton experiment, and they have not recovered yet. And the Dolphins have been hot. So I got to go with the hot hand. I'm going with the Dolphins.
He said 2 or 3 years past the Cam Newton experiment.
He's right.
Cole, do you make this unanimous? I know you do.
You actually want me to pick this game?
only because it's on the schedule.
Dolphins. Dolphins.
We're all unanimous on that one. Let's go to the lake. The Detroit Lions favored by 3 against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, an old NFC Central Division game. I'm going all old school today, and I'm going with the Lions. The Lions look damn good. All right,
that's an understatement.
Except for their overtime loss against Seattle, and that shouldn't have gone to overtime. The Lions had chances to win that game in regulation. Tampa Bay is an anomaly. The Baker Mayfield experiment stops here, and it stops with a thundering crash. Give me the Lions, and I'm laying the points. Victor.
Yeah, same here. I'm going all Lions. I have been saying since the end of last season that the Lions are going to be that dark horse that comes out, and they have shown that. They've actually overtaken the Packers. The Bears are a non-factor. The Vikings are a non-factor. And then you're going against Baker Mayfield. That's who you think is going to stand up to the Lion defense? Really? Give me the Lions.
Michael?
Yeah, give me the Lions as well. I mean, there are some out there that'll tell you that Baker Mayfield, because he likes to switch up his receivers and whatnot, that the Lions may have some difficulty keeping guys like Chris Godwin and Cade Otton in check. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Detroit steps up their defense this week, and they're already playing at a high level, but I think they target those guys, and I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be able to run much on Detroit at all. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Baker Mayfield's shoulders, and I don't think he handles it. I absolutely believe in the Detroit Lions this weekend.
Mr. Johnson, finish it.
I believe in Dan Campbell. I really do. I believe in him, and the team believes in him more importantly. The offense is solid. I love the fact that they stress balance because Jared Goff is operating this offense at an optimal level, and they're unafraid to run the ball. And I love that. What I also learned is that Dave Montgomery, Chicago, are showing you why you're idiots in the front office. I'm sorry. This is not soapbox theater. But they're committing to the run, whether with him or Jahmyr Gibbs, who is an awesome stud as well. Defensively, it's Aiden Hutchinson, and that defense is led by him. Oh, my gosh. What an improvement from last year from that side of the ball. Tampa Bay has a lot on their hands, and yes, they have some, I won't say impressive, they have some eye-opening wins. That L, though, they took at home to the Eagles, I think is a portent of things to come. Definitely with this game, I take the Lions.
The Patriots and the Raiders, Tank Bowl 2 this week. I don't know what to make of this game. I really don't. The Raiders somehow, some way, are favored by 2.5 points. Why? I'll take the Raiders at home, but I'm taking those points. I don't trust either. This is a tank bowl, gentlemen. I don't trust either one of these teams. Michael.
You want me to tell you why the Raiders are favored 2 points at home? 72-3, the Patriots have been out.
That'll do it.
If the New England Patriots do not find a way to put some points on the board, Bill Belichick is going to be in Las Vegas taking a tiger back to Mike Tyson's house by the end of this thing. There is no way he's going to be allowed to come back to New England after that. Look, bottom line, this is really a toss-up game, folks. It really and truly is. You have two teams that have two quarterbacks that are predicated on leading their respective opposing defenses leading their receivers under the defense, and then completing short intermediate passes to lead their team down the field. You can make the argument right now that Jimmy Garoppolo is better equipped to do that with Las Vegas's offensive line, but they haven't been great either. The one thing that makes me believe that New England might be able to right the ship this weekend is when Bill Belichick is presented with a team that has similar deficiencies to his opponent, albeit Josh McDaniels. He's very good at being able to devise strategies to be able to neutralize it. That's the only reason why I feel confident in what New England brings to the table. And I like the way they're situated on defense just a little bit better. For my own sanity, for the sanity of the fan base for which I cover, I'm going to take the Patriots in the upset this weekend. But, yeah, I agree with you. Tank Bowl, yeah, this one's going to be a rough one to watch.
Victor, this is to you.
My condolences, sir.
Mine also.
I don't know what happened to the Patriots. I guess maybe Tom Brady did take his talents and all of New England's talents down to South Beach, but it's nightmarish. And the last time I saw the Patriots play, they got smoked by the Cowboys. I don't know if this is going to be their comeback, but right now the Raiders are looking hot right now, so I got to go with the Raiders on this one.
Arizona and the Los Angeles Rams. It's 425. Oh yeah.
Thank you for not having me pick that game, because that's exactly what I think of it.
We'll move on. I'm not touching that game. That's Tank Bowl 3. I'm not touching that game.
Nope.
I will do this one. Eagles and Jets. Eagles -7 on the road, over under 41. Fly, Eagles, fly. Give me the Eagles, and I'm laying the points. Cole?
I really feel for the Jets. They came off an emotional victory in Denver, and this was the best they have looked all season. They actually looked like they came to play, and I'll be doggone, when they actually committed to having Breece Hall run, that team actually looked good. Gone was the days of only having him carry it 4 or 5 times. They actually had him carry it over 20, and he actually gave you 175 yards. Come on now, Hackett, offense coordinator for the Jets. Come on now. This is your ticket. Run the ball, make Zach Wilson a game manager, and play action, play action, play action. That is your only hope the rest of the season, let alone Sunday. But even with that, you have no hope on Sunday, simply because you are dealing with a team that has more horses than you. And even if Aaron Rodgers was behind center, I would still pick against you, because I believe in the Eagles as a team more than I believe in the Jets, because simply put, they have man children in the defensive interior.
Yep.
They have underrated dogs as linebackers, and they have really good secondary members. The defense is solid. The offense loves to maul you, and I love that about the Eagles. They want to beat the will out of you, and unfortunately, it is easy to beat the will of the Jets. Even though they love to fight, you can beat the will out of them. The Eagles are capable of doing that, so I picked them to go 6-0. Eagles.
Victor?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. McCarthy, but it's going to be a nightmare for the Jets. You know, the one thing that helps out quarterbacks is adversity, and it's going to be the adversity game for one Zach Wilson. I hope he does well, because he's been starting to go on that upswing, but I just don't see him coming away with a W against the Eagles. They're going to go undefeated.
Michael, finish it.
Yeah, the Eagles, I think, just have the horses far, in advance of the New York Jets. But I agree with what Cole said. I mean, when Breece Hall is committed to running the ball, the Jets look like a different team. So I think this is going to be closer than people think. But in the end, I do believe the Eagles are just a better team on both sides. They'll take it.
Now, I'm skipping the Sunday night game because the Bills are favored by 14, and they're coming off losing in London.
The Bills. Okay.
Bills.
I am going to do this one. The Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football against the San Diego Chargers. Yes, I said San Diego Chargers.
And yes, he knows they're in Los Angeles. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The Cowboys, for some god-awful reason, are favored by 2. What got me laughing and got me angry is the over-under, which is 51.
That got you laughing?
That got me laughing and angry at the same time. How are they setting this at 51 for the over-under? Especially after the Cowboys got embarrassed last week in Santa Clara. They're going to get embarrassed by the Chargers. Give me the Chargers, and I'm taking those points. Michael?
I'm actually going the opposite way on this. I think it's a bounce-back game for Dallas. Look, I know Los Angeles is coming off the bye. Cowboys coming off a disaster. You normally give the edge to the Chargers, but I think the Dallas defense finds a way to correct a lot of the issues that they saw last week. They're not facing the 49ers. They're facing the Los Angeles Chargers, who do have a lot of horses that are capable of scoring points. but they're not the cohesive unit, and I don't think they're the polished unit that you saw in San Francisco. As a matter of fact, I can tell you from personal experience, they're not.
Right.
This is a team that I've covered, for a number of years as well. And the Chargers do have the ability to stay in games. They'll keep this close, but I think the Cowboys find a way to pull this one out.
All right, Victor, to you.
You already know where I'm going with this, but I'm gonna say this: the one hiccup I have is that when the Cowboys get gouged, when the Cowboys get gouged for a big loss, they usually are off the game for about 2 or 3 games. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping this to bounce back because there is no Brock Purdy on the Chargers. There is no Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk or Christian McCaffrey. So they should be able to have this. And yes, there's also no Georgiana Kittle. Also, remember that your head coach is Brandon Staley, Chargers.
Your head coach is Brandon Staley.
The only person who I think is stupider than Pennywise the Dancing Clown. So I'm going with the Cowboys.
Pennywise, Brandon Staley, Josh McDaniels, the Three Stooges. Cole, finish it off.
There is no thinking about it. The Chargers are being in every game, and I love the fact that they have the fight in them. And I asked this question on Total Football Talk 3 days ago, and the answer was absolutely. The Chargers are actually 2-2 in spite of the head coach and their receiving. Yep. They are actually fighting against what the coaching is giving them. And because of it, and because of the fact that Staley continuously puts this team in disadvantageous positions for whatever reason, I have no earthly idea, it makes the Chargers a hard watch for a team that actually is so talented on both sides of the ball. They actually can play the sport. They actually can play the game.
Yes.
And that's what's so frustrating about the Chargers. And unfortunately, I want to go with the. Oh no, I will go with you on. I'm rooting for the Chargers, not because of Staley, but because I actually want the team to basically throw it up yours to Staley.
Right.
However, I think the Cowboys will bounce back in this one. I think they will lick their wounds, learn their lessons from 8 days before, and they're going to try to. I'm sorry, Victor. They're going to try to, not necessarily you, but they're going to try to get the moronic Republic of Cowboys Nation to believe once again that they are Super Bowl bound.
And sadly,
so,
go ahead, Cole.
And that is why I'm going to pick the Cowboys. I think they're going to win and bounce back.
Those are.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
The bronze god is here. That's Chris Bass, and he joins us every single Friday. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning to you, Rain Man. And of course, good morning, of course, to the rest of the motley crew of the mad scientists, and of course, Wise all the boys and girls in the comment section land. A good morning and boom shakalaka to you.
On your mark, get set, go. What you got for us?
So LeBron James came forward and said that the future leadership of the Lakers is his teammate Anthony Davis, and it's nice PR, and it sounds great, and it's ear hustling and things like that. But I personally don't see it. It's nothing against Anthony Davis. Him coming out of college is one of those things where you saw probably a generational talent at the time. But his first name is Mr. His last name is Glass at this stage in the game. And you don't want to see it happen to a player, but it just goes on and on to the break of dawn when it comes to him. And I was also told many, many moons ago that leadership is led by an example, or examples with S behind it. And so it's hard to lead by example if you're always injured. And not saying you don't have the spirit to be a leader in the locker room and things like that, but it's in this situation, it was what's done on the court. And so if it's not done on the court, then where do you go from there? So again, it sounds good. It sounds great. Damn near swell. But pretty much you're going to catch a whole lot of hell in the long run because the numbers don't add up and it's too inconsistent for this team. And so it's not like in parallel universe. Many years ago when you had, say, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the captain, the cap, and Magic Johnson. So Magic, of course, I mean, that was his favorite player growing up. So he revered him. And it took a while, as you know, going back in time, for Kareem to even warm up to Magic, because Kareem was very stoic, business and everything else. I like when they fought against the Celtics at Boston Garden, and you seen Kareem high-fiving and really enjoying himself. And he even said, I hate to say that, in the first retirement that Magic Johnson had at the Gold Forum back in there in Inglewood, he said that Magic, or Irvin as he called him, allowed me to have a good time playing basketball. And that says a lot when someone comes into your life and you being the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and this Magic fellow comes along and makes you realize that you should have fun. And all about business. You should have fun at the same time. So parallel that to, obviously, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, there should be some similarities, but they're not from the standpoint of the classic passing the torch and the future of the franchise, things like that. I just don't see it in AD. I really don't. I wish him well, but I just don't see it.
I don't see it either. And as you said, it's a lot of good PR. It's a lot of good ear hustling, but we know how LeBron operates on the floor. And he is not going to give AD not only not give him the shine, but he's not going to give him the room to operate the same way that Magic gave Kareem the room to operate on the floor. Because if you look at Magic's first game in 1979 against the Clippers, Kareem hit a shot to win the game, and Magic jumped in his chest and was so excited. And Kareem said, "We got 81 more games." And Magic said, "You keep doing that, I'm going to jump on you 81 more times." And it led to what you talked about, Base. Irvin allowed me to have fun. And when you look at Kareem's game from 1979 to when he retired, he had more fun during that stretch with Magic Johnson as his teammate than he ever did, even when he first got to the Lakers from Milwaukee.
And again, that's a hell of a statement to all that time. Because again, look at it from Kareem's perspective. I was going to go through racism and then being ostracized because of your size and going through all that type of mental anguish. So what do? You get on the floor in the basketball court and show your business, get your frustration out that way. You channel it through there. And then when you're in college playing for UCLA, they banned the dunk.
Right.
During that time. So again, but that's where the skyhook was, I think, really created to offset the dunking. So it's like, okay, I can't get you with the dunk, but let me create an unstoppable move that right to this day, even though Kareem is not even playing, because he still can't stop it. So again, things happen for a reason. And the desire and the passion, of course, I believe is still with these players, but it's just different. And that's all. And the difference can make something change from the standpoint of what's a leader, what builds leadership up, how do you go by example, or what does it take for that person, him or her, to lead a team? Like a case in point, in the parallel, Marshawn Lynch. Now I want to do this last bit, I want to do it now. So in the parallel to the theme about leadership, going back to AD, Marshawn Lynch was on with Shannon Sharp's podcast talking about his relationship with then QB Russell Wilson, that he didn't get in touch with him without a liaison in between, or he had to go through a coach just to talk to him. And then he said that if he called him back, meaning Marshawn Lynch to Russell Wilson, he got a blocked number. He goes on to say that, so people like Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, and those former teammates of Seattle have said about Russell about this for a long time now. And so that type of, you want to call it leadership, you can't be communicative with the person. This is supposed to be your teammate. And you're acting like, again, as Russell Wilson Inc. Let me go to my secretary, and I'll go to my Rolodex, and I'll contact me later type of thing. That to me is not leadership. That to me is company you, and everybody else is peripheral. And that's not how you operate.
And I talked about it this morning when we opened the show with the Chiefs and the Broncos getting plastered by the Chiefs again, 19-8. Since Russell Wilson has been in Denver, it seems like he has had more power than the team. And like you just said a moment ago, Base, you have to go through a Rolodex just to get up to that level to talk to him. And Russell's supposed to be your teammate. That's not how it's supposed to go.
I don't understand. Once again, ego could be very dangerous, as we know. Ego could be a very dangerous thing if we don't check it. And so if it's not checked, yeah, of course, you're Russell Wilson Inc., and you got 7 parking spaces and 5 people to handlers and stuff like that. I mean, that's the universe you create. But let's not forget, first and foremost, you're there to win football games. And sometimes that gets lost in translation with all the peripheral stuff that happens in one's life, and you make it about you, not about the team.
Right.
And you could drink your own Kool-Aid and get drunk.
And I've seen it more and more in this day and age with the athletes that are playing in the different sports now than what you and I saw, which was all about the team. Anybody, we talked about the Showtime Lakers, the Philadelphia 76ers from the 80s with Julius Erving and later Moses Malone, Maurice Cheeks, and Andrew Toney. And one of the best examples I can give you is the Atlanta Braves. They're supposed to be this big, bad team. They won 104 games in the regular season, and yet we were all saying that it's all about October for the Atlanta Braves. And once again, this year, they get socked in the mouth by the Philadelphia Phillies saying, we're better than you. And Philadelphia got hot, and they struck. And these Atlanta Braves fans, and I've run into many of them this morning, making excuses saying, well, like 2021 didn't happen. Well, it did happen. But what's happened the last 2 years?
It's a process like anything else. And of course, how you see things through your proverbial lenses. From my lens, it's kind of gray and murky from time to time. And you got to factor in social media. You have to factor in everybody has their own individual social media outlets and everything else. So I understand that times change and people change. But at the same time, yeah, it can be dangerous if you're not careful. There's a reason why back in the day, you had to have a contract that was within, of course, character clauses and things of that nature. There's a reason for that. Because as you know, somebody get into trouble and say it was something to do with, say, unfortunately, domestic violence, say Chuck Chowderhead, the Milwaukee assholes, they're going to put their names there and, of course, associated with the company or team that they're with. So that becomes extremely damaging because your name's associated with the organization. So, but nowadays, because of social media, everybody has a podcast. Everybody can go on and vent and say they want to say and things of that nature. And they have the right to do that. I mean, that's just how we are living in these days. I'm not going to be a hypocrite of the whole thing. But I think, again, when you are on this or in this media or social media and everything else, even though some people don't subscribe to it, I do believe there's a responsibility still. I really believe that. And that's just me being old school, whatever, and the series I came up with and how I was taught. Now, again, I'm the first one to admit that if you're able to roll the punches, go with the time, stuff like that, I'm for that too. But I think there's nothing wrong with the fact that what you say and come out of your mouth, and if people are listening, it's going to go a long way. It's going to go to the point where it could be damaging and go right to what I said before about character clauses. If you're a pro athlete, you have a platform like that, it's going to affect the team you're associated with, no matter what you say. So it really is a catch-22, but I think at the same time, just be careful. I mean, I know it's hard to grasp, but yeah, just be careful sometimes before you hit that microphone sometimes.
I look at the case of one Kyrie Irving and the link that he spread, and he said something to the tune of, why couldn't I spread that link? Everybody else spreads other links. Kyrie, there's something you have to deal with called a contract. And what you spread was a clear violation thereof. And you wonder why the Brooklyn Nets turned their back on you, because that is besides what he did in showing up at his sister's birthday party without a mask on and all he said about getting the COVID shot and everything. Then you do that and blatantly violate your contract, and you wonder why the Nets turned their back on you.
But again, having the opportunity to have freedom of speech, there is a payment for it.
Yeah.
And that's for all of us. And it could be high or it could be low or somewhere in the middle. And then sometimes you got to rob Peter to pay Paul just to pay off what you just said. So there is a price for it, whether it's Kyrie Irving or anybody else. So again, you're a special person because you're a public figure. And public figures have been known to be torn down by the public that brought them up in the first place.
True.
They build you up and they'll tear you down. This is lickety split before you can blink, and it's gone or it's separated. So again, I think a lot of people going into it have to realize that your words do mean something. Your voice means something because somebody's listening to you. I'm not the biggest Steve Harvey fan, but he has an audience. I mean, again, just no offense. There's no way in the world I would go near a book back in the day about, I don't know, grab this woman and hold her by the kneecap, whatever the name of the book was. But you went for your second wife and married your side piece. So how can you give advice? I don't understand it.
And people are still listening to that advice in droves. In droves, man. From a guy who's been married 3 times now. And like you said, you went from marrying your second wife to marrying your side piece, and now that's starting to break apart. And people are still listening to him.
Like this whole thing on the show, I mean, you see it on social media with Shirley Strawberry going to all the stuff between her and her husband. Her husband's in jail. And so now the audio has been leaked out to the public about how he talks to his wife and how he talks to his mistress. So, for example, I heard it, and when he was talking to his wife, a whole different cadence, like, wow, man, that's messed up. Wow. Man, you could play a drunk game of him saying, wow, I kid you not. You would get drunk, and within 5 minutes time. If you whatever you want to drink, I'm not promoting alcoholism now. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Maybe like tequila or bourbon or whatever. Just or some beer, don't matter. Listen to that tape of him talking to his wife, Shirley Strawberry. You get drunk in about under 5 minutes time. And then when his side piece or hooker whore shows up, hey, baby, how you doing? Hey, I want to get up in that. Hey, man, it's going to be great. I'll get it. So the whole thing is different. So going back to Shirley Strawberry real quick, just to talk about people being hypocritical, there's a thing on the show called the Strawberry Letter. So the people give you these letters and emails about the relationship and everything. But because of what you're going through, you shouldn't say nothing.
Not a thing.
Nothing. And you could go on like everything is hunky-dory when it's not. Your castle is crumbling. Your relationship is in shambles. So you can't talk on the microphone every day, which he does, and still give out advice. What you're still what am I sitting on? Hypocrisy.
And again, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. They continue to listen to his advice. Not only listen to his advice, but take it and apply it in their lives when his third marriage to his side piece, as you correctly pointed out, is in shambles right now.
Right.
That's crazy.
I understand it. And another thing is I read something online. Once again, can't believe everything you see online, but it's rumored, I don't know how true it is, that the Pittsburgh Steelers coach Mike Tomlin is considering bringing on John Gruden as his OC.
I've read that rumor.
I hope it's not true.
I hope it's not true. Do you know how much of an uproar that not only the Steelers organization but the rest of the NFL would be in if John Gruden was brought on by Mike Tomlin to be his offensive coordinator? Yikes! I wouldn't want to be in the middle of that storm.
Well, see, the caveat to that was the fact that all that racism stuff, for example, on that he had, meaning John Gruden, his emails, it's like, well, if Mike Tomlin forgives me and he's African American, I could come back in. And I don't think he wants to come back in, obviously, as a OC. I think he'll come back as a head coach.
Yeah,
whether it's an NFL or college.
He wants to coach again.
Yeah, absolutely. He wants to be the main dude. So I don't see him taking any type of I won't say underling role, but any type of role outside of head coaching at this point.
NBC Sports have this story in front of me. In a recent chat, longtime Steelers reporter Gary Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette was asked this question: who do you expect realistically the Steelers to target in the offseason? Way too early to speculate, he responded, but a good one would be a Tomlin friend, John Gruden. Now, if that don't stir the pot,
Look,
and this is way too early, but the fact that it's out there and the fact that social media is going to take it and run with it, now it's going to fly off. It's going to fly off the handle.
John Gruden is busy. He's portraying Chucky in the Chucky TV series on Sci-Fi. He does not have time to go back to coaching right now. He's making a good grip, playing Chucky and everything on the TV series. So, no, He's good. He should stay where you are. Keep the bib overalls and the striped shirt and everything else and the red hair and the manic look and everything else. No, you're doing fine. That's a good grip. That's a good check you got. Don't ruin it.
But he wants to get back to coaching.
Oh man, we don't need that.
He wants to get back in coaching, and you're right. We don't need that, but apparently he does.
People in hell wants ice water. I've seen it because I took people back to hell myself. They're thirsty. They can't help themselves. So no, you belong in hell. So no ice water for you. So in that situation, hell nope. And the same with John Gruden.
Exactly.
Hell nope.
And that's the exact response I was looking for. Hell nope.
Mm-mm.
And Sick Diggy said it best when we were talking about Steve Harvey, and Lori Harvey is for the streets. That's from Wise El Jefe, and Sick Diggy repeated it.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Thank you, Sick Diggy. And thank you, Wise, for that comment. Yeah, very much.
Wise was the first one to said it. He said it on Mentality, and now it's become part of our lexicon here. If the proof's not in the pudding there, then what else can you say? And the proof's right there.
Well, again, there are such things as honest hoes. There's some honest hoes out there, but John is not an honest hoe. He's a dishonest hoe. So he can't change the stripes. He can't change the bib overalls and the red striped shirt he wears when he's Chucky. So it's just not going to happen. So you're gonna, of course, play it down because you want back in. Because your ass was all the way busted through all those emails and things like that. So I guess second chances, but some people just can't come back. And I'm sorry, this is the way life is.
And he's one of them. He send him back to hell and let him stay there without ice water.
It would be my honor and pleasure to
send him back to John Gruden. Look, Bay started this about a year and a half ago, when he said some people just need to be sent back to hell.
Yes.
Because you have no reason to be existing on this earth. You have no reason to be here. You have no purpose here. And John Gruden is one of those people. Because, like you said, he was all the way busted with those emails that came out. And he wanted to take the NFL with him, but that didn't happen.
You got to go back home. You're living on borrowed time. It's time to go back home. And I'll take you back home. Where's home? Straight to hell.
Straight to hell.
Straight to hell. Go back home, Doc. We don't need you no more.
I think that's the best way we can close this. We can close this Friday with Bay sending John Gruden back to hell.
Look at his face, man. Look, he be living on borrowed time, Doc. And not be pure evil.
I'll cue this up and I'll let you do your thing. This is us sending John Gruden back to hell, where he needs to go right now.
Oh, Tut, Lord of Grapes, please hear my plea. The man so-called known as John Gruden is calling your name to come back home. Oh, Tut, Lord of Grapes, take back your son, because we don't need him. Never wanted his ass in the first place. Oh, Tut, Lord of Grapes, please take this man back, because he has run away from your home and he needs to come back. He's had his fun living in human skin. He's also got a job being Chucky on Sci-Fi. He's had a good life. He needs to come back home. Old Tut, Lord of Grapes, please hear my plea as I take this rat bastard and send him back home to hell. Ominos Dominos.
Perfect. That's all I got to say. Perfect. It might be one of these every week again, folks. You never know. John
yeah, absolutely.
John Gruden's the first of this new batch to go back to hell.
It's a long list of them, Doc.
And I know a lot of Cub fans that need to go on that list also.
Put them on the list.
One more. Sick Diggy asks, how's the madness with the neighbors?
Oh, let's see. Let me knock on wood. So far, so good. I haven't been in their company, thank God. So no, we're good right now. All quiet on the Western Front.
Good.
So we're good right now. So I don't want to, I don't want to bring them up. So again, knock on wood. But no, they're good. They're okay.
Good. We'll leave it there. That's Chris Bates joining us as he does every single Friday inside the Boom Shakalaka. And we just had the first person sent back to hell in this batch, and it was John Gruden, and he needs to go back. Yes. Bates, thank you so much, my brother. We love you so very much. Thank you for coming on again. We appreciate it.
Well, I love you more. Love the love. I also love out to the crew and everybody else. Thank you so much. Let me be myself again. And I'll see you soon. You take care. Have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you. We'll see you next Friday.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
Tonight at 10 p.m., I'll have Stanford and Colorado in the Snowman Broadcast Center. We'll start our broadcast at 9:45 with the fan chat, and then go right to kickoff at 10 p.m. In the meantime, remember this.
Also, you walk through this office building every day. You know what the fire alarm look like. I don't want to hear that.
Oh my
God. Like you got. I wish you had that button right now. Got me with this bull. You got a mother thinking from New York can't read. Don't know red means fire alarm. Like you seen it says don't pull or pull in case of emergency. There was no emergency. Like oh my God.
Keep
cooking. Let me calm down. Because this dude is really a yo.
Keep cooking.
I'm wondering why you even brought this up, man. Like this is not news. This is not news. This is some stupid trying to make a power play, and he came out looking like a dumb. This is all that is. Let me try to delay this phone. I'm late. Negro, you need to speed up your watch or something, or put your alarm set so you can leave 20 minutes earlier. I don't know, but pull a fire alarm. You were just giving New Yorkers a bad name with this dumb, stupid. Like really.
Oh my gosh.
Dear God, Wise and Cole Johnson, the gentlemen of mentality. You can catch them every Monday on the Snowman Multimedia channel at 10 p.m. and Diary of a Mad Snowman tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We got to go. Have a great weekend. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they're simply not big enough. Dream big. Do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. We apologize for the power surge we had earlier, but we got through it, got the picks in, and everything else is ready. Don't forget, 9:45 tonight, Stanford, Colorado, inside the Snowman Broadcast Center. And then Sunday at 12:45, it's the 49ers and the Cleveland Browns. I'll have the call beginning at 1 p.m. We are out of here. Thank y'all very much. We love you, and we'll see you Monday.